everyone, it's Librarian Faith from the Mandel Public Library of West Palm Beach. And today I'm going to show you how to make two different versions of face mask ear savers. These handy little things can save you a lot of trouble. I know my ears have been getting sore after wearing masks for so many weeks. But these just simply hook around the back of your head and you attach the mask to the buttons on either side. And they hold the mask in place instead of your ears, saving you that little bit of pain. Plus, both of these versions have holes in the middle for a ponytail, which I personally think is quite handy. Let's get started, shall we? To do this craft, you'll need a few things. Some yarn in whatever color you like, a pair of scissors, 2 buttons, and of course a crochet hook. To get started, you'll want to tie the yarn around the crochet hook and secure it with a double knot. Then you'll do 40 chain stitches. Do a chain stitch by holding down the loop on your crochet hook, wrapping the yarn around your hook, and bringing the yarn through the loop. You'll repeat this process 40 times. And 40. Now that we have our 40 chain stitches, you're going to want to go back 10 stitches with a single stitch. So remember to do a single stitch. You'll want to stick your needle through one of the chain stitches, use the hook to grab the yarn and pull it through that chain stitch so that you have 2 loops on your crochet hook. Wrap the yarn around the hook again and bring the hook through both of those loops. And you'll just keep repeating that process 10 times. And the 10th stitch. Now that we have these 10 single stitches, you're going to want to make another 20 chain stitches. And 20. Now you'll want to count over 20 chain stitches on the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And stick your needle through that 20th chain stitch. Then you'll loop the yarn over your hook. Use the hook to bring it through both of those loops on your hook, like so. This will leave an opening in the middle for any ponytails or other hairstyles somebody might have that might get in the way of a typical ear saver. Then we'll continue doing single stitches along the rest of these chain stitches. Try to keep your yarn a little bit loose. I had the tension a little bit too tight during this first half and it messed me up a little bit, so try to keep your yarn a little bit looser. Now we have the base. Technically you could stop here, but it looks much nicer with an additional double stitch put along the outside edge. As a reminder, to do a double stitch, when starting on a new row, you'll make 1 chain stitch to give you a little bit of height, then you'll wrap the yarn around your crochet hook, you'll stick the hook through the very first stitch on the bottom, use the hook to bring the yarn back through that bottom stitch so that you have 3 loops on your hook. Then you'll use your hook to grab the yarn and bring it through those first 2 stitches, and you'll use the hook again to bring it through those last 2 stitches so that you only have 1 loop on your hook, and that's a double stitch. So then we'll continue that all the way across the single stitches and the chain stitches that we have that make up the top half of this pattern. Try to keep the tension a little bit on the lighter side with this project. It makes it much easier to stick the needle through the single stitches if you do. Now that we've gone all the way across the top, we're going to make a curve around the edge so that we can start going down the other side. In order to do that, you'll need to put about 5 or 6 double stitches in that very end chain stitch. So I already have one in there, so let's go ahead and do another 4 and see how we are. And here we go. We have 5 total stitches in that very end chain stitch, so it makes a nice circle going around. Now that we're here, we can keep going down the other edge with our double stitches. Now that we've come to the other end of our ear savers, you're going to want to put another 4 double stitches in that very last stitch so that you can curve it around to the other side. Now that we have those 4, you're going to want to put your hook through the top of that first double stitch and use your hook to bring the yarn through both that top double stitch and the loop on your hook so that it looks like this. And pull it out a little bit. Take your scissors, snip the yarn, and pull the yarn through that loop and pull it tight. Then snip off both of the tails. And we have our base. Now I purposely made the ponytail hole a little bit big in this one, just because some people have thicker hair than I do. If I was doing it for me specifically, I probably only would have skipped about 10 stitches, but it all depends on what works for you, and this one will work for everybody. Now that we've finished the crocheting portion, we're going to add on our buttons. To do that, you'll cut off a length of yarn about this long. I went a bit overboard, but it's always better to have more yarn than less yarn. Then you'll stick the yarn through one of the buttonholes. If you need to, you can take some basic Scotch tape and put it on the very end of the yarn, folding it over and cutting a sharp point with your pair of scissors into the yarn. This can help thread it through the button a little bit easier. Now that you have it up through one of the buttonholes, put it down through the other side so that it looks like this on top. Then thread the yarn through your base of the ear savers. Thread it back up the opposite side of your ear saver, and then through one of the empty buttonholes. And push it down through the opposite side again, so that it looks like this on top, and we have the 2 opposite ends sticking out the bottom. Then tighten it up a little bit on either side. Stick the yarn back down through this bottom crocheted part and tie a knot in the back, securing the button in place. Again, I would do a double knot for this portion. And trim the edges. And there we go. You have a sturdy button in place. We'll want to repeat this on the opposite side. And we're done. We have our adorable ear saver. These will work with just about any mask, even loops or ties. You just want to tie it around the buttons. I hope you enjoyed this project. Be sure to tune in next week for another craft tutorial. And until then, happy reading! If crocheting isn't your thing and you'd prefer to take a more technological approach to making an ear saver, you can always use Tinkercad and a 3D printer. Librarian Stephen on the second floor has been kind enough to show us his process of designing an ear saver and printing it off. Let's take a look, shall we?